I always remind you that when we study the Torah, we have to look for the Messiah hidden in the Torah, because the entire Torah has a final purpose. The ultimate goal is to take us to Messiah. It is written in our books, it is written in our prophets. That is what all our sages have said in every generation. All the prophets do nothing but speak to us about the Messiah. There were many lepers in the days of Yeshua in Israel. And many lepers came to the rabbi asking him to have mercy on them, the Hosanna. One day a leper came and said to him, and alongside David, have mercy on me. If you are willing, you can make me clean. That's what the leper said to him. And the master replied, I want to. He was cleaned instantly, immediately. The leprosy disappeared from his body. What did the rabbi do? The rabbi told him, go, present yourself to the Kohen. Show yourself, go to the temple, show yourself to Kohen, and complete the challenge. What was commanded by Moses, our teacher, to serve them as evidence, to serve as testimony for them. Observe. To serve as evidence, so that it serves as a testimony. Or what testimony was the Kohen supposed to receive? What was the evidence? Once when Yohanan ben Zekiah, known like John the Baptist, and seeing that apparently Jesus was not defining himself regarding driving out the Romans and restoring the kingdom, promised heir royal, John sent two of his own disciples to the master to ask him, Are you? You had to come, or we will have to wait for another. Revi's response couldn't have been more cryptic. He didn't say yes or no, however. He did respond with a coded yes. It's a kind of prophetic algorithm, we'd say today. Payan, where Yohanan lives, he told them, go to Yohanan and tell him what you are seeing. Seeing with your own eyes and hearing with their own ears. Go and tell Yohanan, the blind see, the lame walk, the deaf hear, the dead come back to life. The good news of the restoration of the kingdom is announced to the poor in spirit, and the sick are being cleansed. Go and tell that to Yohanan. The disciples of Yohanan went and spoke with him. Were you with the teacher? Yes, what did he say? He told us the blind see, the lame walk, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, the lepers are cleansed. Upon hearing this, Yohanan remained silent and smiled. He understood the message from prophet to prophet. Now he could die in peace. The Messiah had arrived in Israel. Why? On one hand, the rabbi tells the cured leper, go to the temple, present yourselves to the priest, show him that you are healthy, and comply with what is stipulated in the law of Moses, so that it serves as a testimony. On the other hand, we have Nicodemus, a Tana, a swine, a teacher of the law, telling it to Esher himself. We know that you have come from Hashem, because no one can do these signs that you do unless Hashem is with him. What signs? What everyone was seeing, the blind, do you see? The lame walk, the deaf hear, The dead are raised, the lepers are cleansed. Why was this a sign? There was only one reason. Since all these cases are related to decisions of the celestial court, as our today's parish teaches, especially the lepers, no matter the medicine you applied to the sore, it doesn't matter the medicine, the essential oil that you put on the leprosy wound, as the root of the illness was a decision of the heavenly court, only by order of the selection tribunal. The plague could be cured. And the tradition that arose said that when one appeared in Israel, a spiritual power sufficient to do all this, that would be evidence to know that the Messiah had arrived, that the Messiah submerged by Jesus. To fulfill what the prophets had said, had come as announced by the prophet Isaiah, chapter 35. The eyes of the blind will be opened, and the ears of the deaf will be opened. The lame will leap like a deer. The tongue of the mute will sing. Or as the prophet Micah said, on that day says to Shem, I will gather the one I used to take care of, and I will gather the one that strayed, and from her I will leave a remnant unto the persecuted. I will transform it into a strong nation forever. And also, the prophet Isaiah, chapter 53, related to Adonai's suffering servant for his ability to take upon himself the deadly sins of the people of Israel. How is it written? Chapter 53 of Isaiah. But he was wounded for our transgressions. The punishment that brought us peace was upon him. And because of his burden, by his wounds we were healed. What are wounds? What is the jabura? Habura is related to sores on the body. That's habura. Possibly the result of injuries or a disease like leprosy. In fact, the Talmudic treatise associates the Messiah with lepers. The rabbis of the Talmud associate the Messiah with the lepers. In the Sanhedrin Treaty, folio 98a, the identity of the Messiah is discussed, and the Messiah is mentioned as a figure of a leper sitting at the gates of Rome. This passage, this Talmudic folio, is part of a rabbinical discussion about the nature and characteristics of the Messiah. Due to its importance, I am going to read it to you. Rabbi Yashu ben Levi met with the prophet Elijah and asked him, when will the Messiah come? He replied, go and ask him yourself. Where is he? At the gates of Rome. And how will I recognize him? He is sitting among the lepers. He's sitting, the Mashiach is sitting among the lepers, all of whom tie and untie all their bandages at the same time. But he only ties one bandage at a time, thinking he might be called at any moment, called to redeem Israel. And I don't want to take too long. Well, the relationship between the Mashiach, leprosy, and lepers is evident. Our parasha deals with the loss of the leper. And there is an intimate relationship between the Messiah and leprosy. Indeed, on the next page, from the Sanhedrin Treaty previously mentioned. So, on folio 98b, the Gemara asks about the Messiah. The Gemara asks about the Messiah and says, what is his name? And the Gemara responds, his name is the leper. There's no doubt about it. si prophecy that the reason the Gemara calls the Messiah a leper is because of what is written in Isaiah 53:4. He carried our illness and our pain endured. In other words, by giving us Maseo, the Most High God was offering us higher universe of grace, a higher universe of mercy, additional spiritual strength, transforms into a revelation that surpasses all the measures and limitations previous, hidden according to prophets here and another there, to unify them in the person of the Messiah, as written in our books. God, having spoken in times past by the prophets, in these times He has spoken to us through the Son, who is the supreme revelation of heavenly light. When Cohen asked the Metzora, the leper, how did you heal? I would listen to her say, a creep touched me. A Siphore Shippoim. And with just a touch, the leprosy vanished. It disappeared from my body. And he told me to come present myself at the temple before you, to serve as testimony for you. Hearing that, Cohen knew that the messianic Redeemer had arrived in Israel. The rabbi sent the healed Sahara to the temple. And we have a tradition that the leper in our parasha is an allusion to the temple. It's written there that the temple also. He is the leper. The temple of Israel, the temple of Jerusalem, is also known as the leper. And now you can understand why. The rabbi said, destroy this body, and in 3 days I will rebuild it. Referring to the temple of his body, because the sacred temple is also identified as the leper. My friends, the Mashiach and the temple are one. The masjid and the temple are one, because both are the source of supreme healing, as shown in giving sight to the blind, the resurrection of the dead, the lame jumping like lambs, in the health of leprosy patients. And that source of healing was being revealed in Eretz Israel, which was, by the way, its spiritual root of superior glory. Think about that. 3 coins. 3 rabbis agreed that the Mashiach bears our illnesses, and though he defiles himself with it, and he becomes sin, he does it for us, to be able to refine even the last of the Jews. What would enter the world to come? As it is written in our books, he who knew no sin, he made to be sin for us. Sin. So that we might become the righteousness of God in him. This is Messias Circiano. This is the circus kids Messiah we preach about. This is the suffering Messiah who redeems and purifies from the sin of leprosy, who saves and protects our Israeli people. Blessed are those who have been called to be worthy recipients of this revelation. Blessed are those who are worthy to receive the revelation of the higher lights. Happy those who listen to me at this time. Happy are you who hear me, for being worthy of seeing and hearing and experience the true and complete redemption that has already begun, and which now also extends to all men. In all the land may they be worthy to receive it too. Blessed are the people, that distances itself from the lying and despicable language of those who spend too much time slandering. Of our Rivi, blessed is the people who shut their ears to the abomination of abortionists of redemption, who decide to turn their backs to that, and in return choose to pay attention to the testimony of the higher lights. Keep aiming. He who was willing to suffer such ignominious contradiction of sinners against himself, as long as not even a fingernail is lost of a Thursday, not even a fingernail from a child of Israel,